And we're recording again. And for those people that's actually watching what's going on, we have the proper backing card again. And yeah, another Sunday, another podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing all right at the moment. Um, Currently, we are. It's Labor Day weekend in the. I'm assuming that like most would know what that is,
Yeah,
but
I have a lot
that
of
mostly is just like we just have a lot of people coming over right now, so nothing.
yeah, I understand what the Labor Day is. I mean, you lucky bastards get just a 3-day weekend. I'm traveling around along on a regular 2-day weekend.
Uh,
Lucky
right.
bastards.
Mm,
So yeah, we're incredibly delayed again, as issues have come up every time we try to record this again. Good news is I have my voice back.
that's for the best, especially since we have no guest this time to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah, that I'm actually. I just want to pat myself on the back a bit there. I mean, I managed to be in a podcast without a voice.
Right.
It took some preparations to do it, but I was able to do it. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm just gonna jump into what we usually talk about in the beginning of the podcast, and I've been playing a lot of things lately. I actually have gone back to start to play League again,
Hmm.
and
Th-
yeah, League
that
of
tends to be
Legends.
how it goes, right?
Yeah,
Going back into League after a little bit of a hiatus.
well, in this particular case was that I felt like enough time had passed, and our kind of team captain got accidentally hit by a train and died, and it wasn't kind of the same just after that.
Ah, that tends to.
Yeah, but enough time has passed. I'm back into the game, and it feels great. It's good to play all the champions I used to play before, so it's like in a way it's kind of coming home. Just
Right.
sitting down with a couple of buddies and just ripping through the rift. On top of that, War Thunder, it goes decent. I've been playing some Team Fortress, some City Skylines, and Tropico.
Hmm. Playing a lot of PC games, more or less.
Yeah, well, I've been playing a bit of Sly Cooper too, also, but that was I think it was probably I did probably that at the other recording, but I didn't have any song clips to actually represent Sly Cooper.
Right. That's not. That's not something you could get easily.
No, exactly, and I mean, I only had that much time to prepare.
Right.
How about you? Any games you played?
Well, mostly the most important, I suppose, thing to note is aside from all the games I'm just kind of picking away at as time goes on, I went to this local. It's like kind of a trading store called It's like a place on the North Shore called Second and Charles. And the thing like about that place is you come in with like a bag of stuff you don't want or need anymore, like books or electronics or video games or something, and you like trade that in, and then you go around the store getting stuff for yourself that you buy with the in-store credit you get from what you traded in.
Yeah.
So like this was I thought it was just me thinking that, well, in Louisiana it does there's not really much in the way of getting old games. Like it's GameStop or nothing for the most part.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that would be an issue.
So most of the time I've just stuck to being using Amazon to buy games, but I just decided like they told me there was like quite a few like a selection of video games there, so I decided I would just like check the place out and see if there was anything worth or anything I wanted to get for myself.
Yeah.
I kind of went in there just kind of like I'm gonna get a bunch of old games and um I might have come in with the wrong expectation on that front because most of it was like all the old games is just the sort of like direct people drop off like um it was a bunch of licensed games, sports games,
Ah, okay, yeah.
and
Those games they always say sell in millions, and then they are actually pretty damn crap.
more or less. But
Ah,
I managed to get like three games that I wanted to try and play for myself, or I had some sort of vain interest in. I got Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift,
yeah.
and yeah, that's mostly just because I wanted to try out Final Fantasy Tactics, and originally I was just gonna play like on a like the original on an emulator, but seeing as this was like the most recent one, and it was, or at least the most recent one I can attain, and it was just there for like pretty cheap, I decided I was just gonna get that and play it instead. I
Yeah.
didn't hear anyone say anything like, "Oh, like A2 is awful," or like some sort of matter of fact business whenever Tactics comes up. So, like, I don't think there's gonna be too much trouble when I actually play that. I got Beautiful Katamari for the Xbox 360, which was the only console like Katamari Damacy game I didn't have, and that seems all right from what I played so far. It's Katamari Damacy, so and I like that, so it's fine with me. And I
Nice.
got Mercenaries Playground of Destruction on the PlayStation 2, which my brother played that more, not me so much.
Yeah.
So this is just me wanting to try that out for myself since it was on the cheap. And I remember that it was like this sort of it was pretty fun when you got in when what little bits I got to play, and it was the game that got me interested in Pandemic as a company.
Ah,
Before
okay.
I mean, like I've heard of them. I mean, like I played some of their like I played Destroy All Humans before I heard of Mercenaries, but I didn't actually think of them as that great of like a company that I liked until Mercenaries. So, eh, um,
So,
kind of a shame that they got like about all the bad stuff that happened near the end, but you can still play there. I have Destroy All Humans too as well, but just don't pick up anything after that. After Saboteur, you should just
so,
avoid.
so you actually managed to find a couple of bargains.
Yeah.
I'm a
Um,
bit jealous of that, and that's just because I had to inflict the limitation on myself to not order hardware online, at least not when it comes to games,
mm,
because last time I tried to. Last time I did something like that, I was going for a couple of Nest connectors, some just so you can modify your Nest so you don't get that blinking screen every time you boot it up. You know,
right.
fixing stuff. And then I saw they had this special order on a special bundle of Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie, and it was even with a discount, it was ridiculously expensive. But I have both games. Both games is actually in my library as we speak from that time. So,
Depending on who you speak to,
well, it was complete in the box. I think that in a good condition too. So I think that
yeah.
helped with the pricing too.
Mm.
So yeah,
I guess I'm just lucky I have those games straight off. But yeah, I've seen ridiculous prices. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. Ugh.
Don't
Anyway,
don't.
I think did you have anything more gaming wise?
I haven't completed anything that I want to talk about right now.
Ah,
That
okay.
might change at some point, but
Yeah.
not at the moment.
And I'm still in the phase on Skyrim that I'm modding it until I'm breaking it. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting close. I'm
Right.
getting close. I there are some mods I had to I had some thing just clashing with each other, so I had to do another kind of install, and now it runs just fine again.
Hmm.
So yeah, the fun stuff. So anyway, today's topic: video game peripherals.
Yeah. For those that might not know what that particularly means, it's pretty much it's like a something that you bought aside from the console itself that the console doesn't need to run, but you might need to run certain games.
Yeah,
Like
I think the most iconic, we can just say the NES Zapper, and I
the
think
NES
people will,
Zapper,
yeah,
yeah.
and
The
people will
usual like
probably just understand what we're talking about.
yeah.
And I mean,
That's usually like the thing you might think of when it comes to peripheral like light guns, like the sort of you aim it at the screen and it ends up acting like a target reticule.
yeah,
Cute. Uh,
we do English good guys, we promise.
Seriously,
Yeah,
I trust. I'm an English native, I swear.
yeah. Anyway, and at least when it comes to console games, I think pretty much everything you buy for them are a kind of peripheral. I mean, I think we're gonna exclude the actual controllers for the games,
Right.
unless they are really silly. I mean, computer gamers have always had this the trusty companion for longer than they have the computer mouse, and that's the keyboard.
Right.
They weren't as fancy back in the days as they are today, but
Right.
it's been it's been going along for quite a while. The keyboard,
Right.
yeah. So do,
But
how do we define a peripheral?
mm, well,
I mean,
it's
you had a good introduction to it, but uh, would you say it is something they base a game around, or do they make that thing, or and base the game around that thing? I don't really
hmm,
know.
I think it's much more often that they make the game and then they make a peripheral to base around it
Yeah,
than the other way around. Even though it's for some you might think that it's more advantageous to do it the other way. I mean, there are instances where well, like the I mean to be fair, usually you want to have a peripheral that would like be worthwhile for more than one game
yeah,
because peripherals are usually not cheap.
yeah. But the thing with that is, if the hardware is already out there, it starts to it's easier to actually make games around it. I mean,
Yeah.
the Zapper, for example, I think it had at least 3 or 4 games that I can think of, at least that got released here over in Europe. We had Duck Hunt. What was that other game you?
Jive.
Yeah, Hogan's Alley. I think
Oh,
got released here too.
right,
Um,
I'm thinking of Rob.
okay,
Um,
yeah. Okay, I
they
can only
had
name 3. I'm forgetting something, I think.
there's Wild Gunman. There's Operation Wolf. I have a list. I'm not gonna act like I actually know these offhand. You, if you wanted to test your luck, you could try playing The Adventures of Bayou Billy with the gun. That's mostly just for certain stages. You're not
Yeah.
doing the beat 'em up stages with the gun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Let's not talk about that, should we?
You
Let-
can apparently play Daydreamin' Davy with the Zapper. Oh,
okay.
just for certain sections. Okay.
No, okay,
That's mostly
good.
for me. I kind of know what Daydreaming Davy is.
Yeah. Anyway, another, but another. It's easy to fall back on Nintendo. So let's just try to get rid of all that stuff before we keep going, because
Oh,
we didn't just have the Zapper. They had this kind of dance plastic mat you put on the floor, and then you
uh,
could annoy the people downstairs when you was running on the controller. I think
I
they.
think I think James Rolfe put it best that the best way to play it was to just get down onto the ground and then just use your hands.
Yeah, probably. I guess I own one of those. I haven't been. I think it works. I don't know. I haven't been able to play any games with it, and testing had kind of ceased because my living room isn't big enough to have that thing out there, especially not since I got the bigger couch.
Most of what I've seen was like what? The only game I've seen it was compatible with was Track and Field.
Yeah, you can play pretty much any game
Yeah.
with it. It's just that it. I think Track and Field was more designed around it.
Oh Christ!
Yeah.
Speaking of games, thinking of something that works with every game. What about that Power Glove?
Moving on.
God, okay, never mind.
Let's not.
Rob,
Rob. Yeah.
robotic operating buddy.
Yeah.
um,
He never
which was
really
kind of
got.
an interesting idea. Which is an interesting like thing they just packaged in with the NES.
Yeah, to start with, and I mean, I really liked the idea. The problem I think was that it wasn't really fully realized when they shipped it to the US. Because if I remember correctly, you had this program you can program Rob with for him to do special tasks and things and whatnot. I don't really remember. I haven't actually played it because I don't own a Rob or have the program or the game that went along with it.
It seemed to have only been compatible with 2 games, which both are just seem to be some style of here. Rob, start stacking blocks. It's gonna be over here and doing something else.
Well,
Let's go.
would be
Stacking. It's a good boy. You get a gold star.
yeah. On the other hand, it would be interesting to see to not need the actual TV screen to play the game.
Oh.
If it's like the game is Rob just stapling things together. Um, so yeah, what more peripherals did they have? They had a lot of freaking things.
Well, there was the Super Scope, which was just kind of like a bazooka version of
Oh
the.
yeah, the super. I actually had one of those, and the and that was probably one of the most bizarre ideas I ever. If I look back and think about it, because for
Technically,
living,
it's just the Zapper again, but this time it's like it's a bazooka.
yeah, and uh, it's a bit more advanced this time because you actually had this little gray box you put into your Super Nintendo, and it could read from where the the IR beam was coming from the bazooka. In that case, it was a really interesting concept. But the thing here is that you're giving, I would say, moderately fragile stuff to 10-year-olds. And I remember I did pretty much everything else except playing the games it was supposed to go with it.
It's a bazooka.
Yeah.
If you want to play around with it.
And it was a nice toy, but it was a goddamn expensive toy.
Right.
But yeah, when I look back at what they actually did with it, I think the technology that they used to use it was really interesting. It's just that I think it was a bit. I don't think they should have marketed to that young of an audience. And if I remember correctly, it needed like 6 or 8 batteries to work.
all the batteries.
Yeah.
How many do you have in your drawer? Put them in there. 6.
Kind of have to figure out which
Trust.
one of the batteries had the most juice still in it, and reuse those two. Get a couple of more hours.
Trust.
Yeah.
That just reminds me that we used to have this like basket, like this wicker suitcase, or basket like weaved suitcase that was filled with batteries. It was mostly just like giant ones, but we also put the double A's in there.
Ah, okay.
And I swear, I think no one used batteries more than me back then.
Yeah.
Or now.
As I have grown older, I have started to use rechargeable ones just because it becomes cheaper in the long run. I have like
Anyway.
I have like 16. I think I have about 16 rechargeable batteries and like 2 charging stations for them. Just so I always have a couple of charged ones around. Works wonders
Right.
with you V-modes. And yeah, so then we have that. Here we come to another issue, because would you say that the Game Boy camera was a peripheral? Someone's at the door. Stall.
I suppose the Game Boy. I suppose you could say the Game Boy camera was a peripheral, but it's. I guess that kind of comes with a big problem sometimes when it comes to some of them. That in some cases there are, when it comes to the camera, that was a purely utilitarian. It was kind of like this sort of unimportant purpose, wasn't it? Like. The only things I can think of it ran with were games where it basically said, "Hey, we'll print out stuff for you," and it's like I think it worked with Red and Blue, with Pokemon Red and Blue, or
Yeah.
Gold and Silver,
There
whichever
was-
one. Just like, "Hey, you'll print out this diploma sticker thing, and you can just put it on your wall."
I think it worked with red, blue, silver, and gold.
And I think it worked with Link's Awakening too, because it allowed you to take pictures of people, and then it was like you could just like print them out. It just seemed like it's just added more to the game itself, I suppose.
Yeah, and the thing with
By a sense, I guess that counts too.
yeah, also with Link's Awakening and Awakening DX, it was some the things you could print turned out like one of those photo albums. So you had some you could get some really funny stuff in there.
Right.
The thing is, I don't. I remember from the games that the pictures in game was in color, but I never thought the printer actually managed to print in color. So it got a bit more boring as you printed them.
Right. Man, now that just kind of opens the door. Does the link cable count as a peripheral? I suppose
Well,
it could.
I don't
guess
really
we
know
could
with
just
the link
kind of-
cable. I mean,
We
that's
could just be safe and say that anything that connects systems in a sort of multiplayer fashion shouldn't count.
yeah, because that's just a way to make the hardware just communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you talk about the camera?
I stalled with the camera for a while.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Funny fact about that camera was that it was the smallest digital camera a while.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Then again, they kind of cheated a bit with it and only made so it took black and white pictures.
Right.
So they could really scale down the hardware and do some. They didn't have to be that complicated with it.
Right. I'm kind of I'm kind of like just dreading the N64 right now. So don't mind me.
You're dreading the Nintendo 64.
Well, we get to that.
Okay, how
We're
come?
probably getting to that next.
Yeah, because
Because
I think that's the only real peripherals. Oh no, there aren't. I remember one more.
Hmm.
The way you can play Game Boy games without actually having a Game Boy.
Oh, the Super Game Boy.
Yeah,
That's kind of okay. Ignoring well, like ever since until the Advance, they always kind of had this idea that you could try and play games on the console, which which I think is like it's a good way to kind of like play games on if you don't have the well, yeah, like it kind of became this sort of technically better way to play the handheld games, even though like and for the most part a lot of the games are made to be played in shorter bursts.
yeah,
But like now you didn't have to worry about battery life. You could just pop it into your console and just play it as long as you wanted.
yeah, and that's one of the things I really like with the Game Boy player is that I don't need
Yeah.
to use up a pair of my batteries to power up one of my Game Boys.
Right.
I have done an exception today as I've actually been trying out this Tetris cartridge I found at a store a couple of months ago. I found it in a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, I guess there's like millions all over the place now.
Yeah, I mean you could probably build a house of Tetris games.
Yeah.
Would that be ironic? You're stacking Tetris games on top of each other.
Well, it wasn't until you mentioned it. Now it is.
What would be really weird is was if you build a house down and then you go away and you come back and all of a sudden a row of games are gone.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm sorry, my mind wanders from time to time. So yeah, I think we should jump to the because I can't imagine more peripherals for the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy. So
No, there
and
isn't really.
this makes me curious because I can't just on top of my head just remember what the N64 had in kind of when it came to peripherals.
Depending on your definition, you could try to include the Rumble Pack because that was just added later. There was technically there was the expansion pack, which was mostly just to allow the Nintendo 64 to do more than it was supposed to. But mostly, I'm worried about that microphone that I got because
Oh yeah, for Hey You Pikachu. Oh, I didn't.
yeah, that
Oh, I should look that one up. I mean that that's kind of my alley. I do sound work. I really want to know what the quality of the microphone there.
I think
So
yeah, it works.
okay, that's vague
I've
enough.
tried it on other things before, but no, my problem was more with the game than with the like object itself.
No, okay. So you don't think that the game just controls horrible because of the mic not actually hearing what you're saying?
Mm, I don't know. I still have bad memory. Like I can still remember that um, playing like Hey You Pikachu and like not trying to get Pikachu to follow my instructions. I actually it got to I remember that like no I didn't treat him the best, but that's because I got really upset at the game, and it got to a point where I think the game went through this situation where if you treat him poorly enough he just runs off and you have to use this megaphone to apologize to him.
Oh, okay, yeah. The thing is, I just saw in front of me you're talking forcibly calm into the microphone. No, Pikachu, I said run, not do a handstand.
It was more like we need to get soup ingredients, and like he wouldn't take yes because I think that means he would eat it. No, I think no, saying yes would just make him think you said something negative, and then he would just destroy the object. So you had to go like sure, but sometimes that wouldn't work. So I literally was just getting to the point where if I got an item, I had to basically make sure that there was nothing else they could have thought. So I literally just shouted, "Shore, yor, yor, yor."
But
I'm not kidding. No, I
okay.
seriously did that to try and get Pikachu to understand me.
Oh,
The point, like,
I almost
it,
feel your pain there, but in the meantime, I just have this mental image where you're sitting in the at the TV just talking into a microphone in growing frustration. Yeah, I'm sorry. I tend to get a bit mean sometimes.
nah, it's it was very long ago. As much as I really don't want to go back and see if I actually did beat the game or not, but I don't think I have that much of a problem now as I would did back then.
Ah, okay, yeah, that could probably uh, that could probably be one of the things that have resolved now.
The microphone, it was kind of like something Nintendo would do a few more times. But yeah, with the DS and the 3DS, though, mostly I think that just kind of came down to blow into the microphone, things will happen.
Oh yeah, you know, you can ramp up the sensitivity on the microphone.
Huh.
Yeah. So I did this prank to one of my cousins once, and I actually don't know if she managed to figure it out. But if you play this, there is this Yoshi game where you kind of map out the route for him with a stylus and to
Touch
remove
and
all the.
go?
Oh yeah, it might be touch and
Touch
go.
and go.
Yeah. So we had a road trip, and I started to realize that because sometimes the clouds when I would play the game would just disappear, and finally I figured out it was because of the background noise from the car. So I thought, yeah, I can probably do something with this. So I went into the settings and I found that I can just amp the gain on the microphone, and then I just handed my cousin the game back without telling her.
Oh.
And looking back, it might have been a bit mean, but let me just say that hilarity ensued.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those were the days, or something like that. She will now. When she hear this, she will probably. If she hear this, she will probably just come up here and slap me in the face.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, with technology just marching on, some of the peripherals get actually built into the game. I mean, the 3DS now have both have
It
a
has the
microphone,
microphone right
yeah,
inside.
and the
The,
and uh, two cameras.
yeah, one in the front, one in the back.
Yeah. So there is there is some there is some evolution coming there. But if we jump to, do you remember anything more with the N64? Because I don't really see a
Mm.
RAM
I think
expansion
they kind
as.
of ran. I think like the N64, they kind of laid off on a bunch of stuff they were doing then. It was a
Yeah,
GameCube where they did a lot more with like they did a lot of different stuff.
yeah,
They
I really like that because I think they had a modem add-on for it.
they didn't do anything with it.
No, but they had it, and
Yeah.
I think you could play Need for Speed with it.
Uh, oh, oh, okay.
Well, you could at
I
least,
know that.
yeah. But what I really liked, what they did with the GameCube was much of the potential that was in the game that they couldn't utilize because it wouldn't get too expensive. Because the GameCube could already give you a 3D effect on the screen, like the
Right.
DS could do. It had the hardware for it, but it needed some kind of extra add-on, probably just a screen or something, or a couple of glasses, so you could see the effect properly because you probably needed a fitting type of LCD screen.
And I guess they just didn't want to deal with that.
Well, I know they looked into it, but nothing ever came of it because of pricing.
Right.
But you start to have some new interesting ideas. Because well, they did the what was the name? Wonders, not the Wonders one. They call the cordless controller something, and I can't remember for
The Wavebird.
Yeah, the Wavebird. I think that was nice. I think.
Yeah, that paved the way for wireless controllers the world over.
Yeah.
I remember Nintendo Power saying that you could play it from the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah, I remember something along those lines too, and I don't know why anyone would want to play Super Mario Sunshine in the bathroom, but
you don't need to make that game harder. It's fine on its own.
I think I know one game I would like to play in the bathroom.
Hmm?
What was the name? Oh, the name just that horror game they developed with
Eternal Darkness?
yeah, Eternal Darkness.
I see.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get scared shitless, might as well do it on the loo.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah,
Oh.
but they also threaded some familiar ground with the Game Boy Advance player.
Right.
That, in my opinion, actually made the GameCube look a bit neater because it looked more like a cube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had that. When I took out, problem is that when I got rid of my GameCube, I didn't take out that thing. I didn't take that thing off.
Oh,
Uh,
shame on you. That's like one of the harder parts to get for the GameCube. Oh well. Also, for the record, I know that when they released, was it Resident Evil for the GameCube?
Let's go with that, yeah.
Yeah, it came with this really nifty controller in the form of a chainsaw.
Oh yeah. Resident Evil 4 had that chainsaw controller, and I think everyone just kind of made fun of it.
I think it was a cool thing, but then again, I haven't found the paper I read it in, but the PlayStation, the Sony PlayStation, had some hilarious third market peripherals.
Right. Yeah.
I know one of it was that it was this light gun for time splitters.
Right. Right.
But they had expanded on it so it fitted the whole screen. You see where I'm going with this? So you can just point this thing towards the TV, pull the trigger. When the ammo goes out, you just take cover, and then you go out, and then you just keep firing because you keep hitting everything.
Oh, well, that makes things easier. Huh.
Yeah, I also found I also remember this controller. They specially used for sports games, football games in particular.
Really?
Yeah, you control the whole game with your right foot.
No, that would just be confused. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what the name is, so I haven't been able to find any pictures. Otherwise, I would send them to you. But
I swear I remember that, but I don't. I think it was a bad idea then. It's a bad idea now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they actually made. They had lots of stuff that just stank. Bad idea.
That was a lot of peripherals mostly.
Yeah,
strangely a lot of non-Nintendo ones.
Yeah,
but that's mostly because it would usually be this one game and that's it.
Yeah.
or like this whole like franchise of games, and that's it.
That
Like
said,
the
I can actually name a peripheral that works with two games.
right.
And do you know? Can you guess who made it?
Who?
Sega.
I'm gonna have to. Is this the maracas?
No, it's not the maracas.
Oh, it's not the maracas.
Because they had this fishing game, Pro Bass Tour or something like that.
That's fishing, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, it was a fishing lure. You threw it at the screen and then you reeled it in and tried to catch fish with it. Turns
Right.
out this thing works with virtual tennis for the Dreamcast. You can swing this thing
Yeah.
around and it works with the game. A bit buggy in places, but it works. And I think that's hilarious.
The thought of potentially winning the Wimbledon with just using a fishing rod.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
McEnroe goes up. He's not even using a real tennis racket, and the like referee's like, "There's nothing in the rule book that says he can't use a fishing rod. Just there's a tennis racket.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm gonna have to deal with it."
Anyway, so the deal with virtual tennis was that you had to use the controller, but you could use this thing to swing. And I think it was a really neat idea, actually.
Probably an accident, but really neat.
Yeah, probably. I mean, somewhere it might have run on the same engine or something like that, so it recognized the input in some kind of way. I don't know. I haven't looked into the source code of said games. Yeah, I was going to. I had something written down. Problem is, I can't find it regarding add-ons for the Commander 64.
Well,
Because that thing had some neat add-ons. I can't find it. I know
Sure.
I remember something along the lines of a butt shaker that you sat on this thing, and when you did something wrong, it would kind of buzz and vibrate.
is I'm looking at this on image search. Is this is a tea maker connected to your Commodore 64?
Yeah. Um, um, the 64 had weird stuff that you could attach to it.
Oh, so many things, all of the things. Apparently
Yeah,
a butt shaker too.
Oh yeah, so I remember correctly. Woo! So yeah, I had a list. I had manual written down because I couldn't find the proper list on the internet because I had the names for it. But so yeah, I'm just gonna skip that over. I'm just stalling for time now. Uh, but
Well, that's all this podcast is, stalling for time now. No.
yeah, I have more peripherals, and I mean, we can't talk peripherals without going towards harmonics.
Oh yeah. I was that was just kind of inevitable at this point, where they just kind of go to the guitar point of the peripheral section.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can go into whatever pawn shop these days and find one of those plastic guitars.
At least one.
Yeah,
The
I
game
mean,
is the game it came from is unimportant.
yeah, but you can still find them. That's what I think is really neat.
The most ridiculous point, it was just kind of like, hey, we can, hey, we like harmonics can basically make. Our game is compatible with the guitars from Rock Band games, including the ones from the Guitar Hero games as well.
Yeah,
It's like all the peripherals everyone could possibly have, and they have to like be backwards compatible with most, if not all.
yeah. Then again, it's a really basic controller if you look down, if you really
Yeah,
look into it, because you
it is
have
pretty much just 4 buttons, a strum thing, and a
Well, it is
button on the back.
it is the regular buttons on a controller. You don't have any side buttons on it. So yeah, it's it's one of those things that's really easy to manufacture. Well, electronic wise, to actually assemble it, I think takes a bit more effort. But yeah, I mean, everyone and their aunt have one of those. And then and then
Yeah,
came
we
Rock
have like
Band with even more stuff.
the drums, the mute, the I think there was like two types of guitars. Was there?
Yeah, two
The
types of guitars, the
and the mic.
microphone, and I mean, the list could go on because I know that DJ Hero they had this
DJ Hero had the
turntable
DJ
thing.
turntable thing.
Yeah,
I think
and I
I've
mean,
seen that before. I forgot if I don't know if I have it or if I saw someone before have it.
yeah, it's
I know we have a Guitar Hero guitar or two
yeah,
because one of my roommates was like, she was with a group of friends that had Guitar Hero, so they play, or was it Rock Band? And they had like, they play it all the time.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
that we
it's
have, you have a guitar in the house.
well, I
I
have
never
some.
played it because it was always just kind of like, it never interested me, and also having an extra peripheral never sat well on my mind at the time.
Yeah,
So that was just I was just kind of being that person who just doesn't. I didn't have anyone to really just bother playing with, and the room that I would play video games in is too small to just like stand with the guitar and just play Dragon Force with.
yeah, because you're probably gonna knock some poor sod over. Yeah, so we have that, and we can expand on this because in the same kind of rhythm part game, you actually have Dance Dance Revolution, where you
Right?
can
Yeah.
actually order
A pad.
the full-size arcade stomp mats to
Oh,
dance on.
yeah. Um, Man, and some people just go completely ballistic with that.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's a fun game, but I don't. That's one of those games I don't want dedicated, expensive hardware to because
And I see
something is
the
going to break.
either the mats or you or your spirit.
The later two, I would say, when I played those.
No,
I
I
like a.
saw like I've seen like some of the like most ridiculous like sort of like moves that you have to do on those sorts of on those sorts of like machines. I've seen videos where it's basically an army of arrows comes from the bottom of the screen up, and it's like you're gonna have to press all of these or you fail instantly. It's like what no what, and then you
Yeah,
see someone, and then you see a video of someone actually being able to do that perfectly on like in like an arcade somewhere, and there's no point in trying. You're not getting like that. You're not getting
that's not gonna happen anytime soon, my
that.
good sir. Yeah, that's what's
Even
like.
with your fingers.
Yeah,
No.
speaking of dancing, side note here. I think it's midsummer, 2 years ago. I go into this place we go dancing, and I step in and feel like, yeah, it's gonna be nice to shake them bones a bit. I walk in there, and the first thing that greets me is a couple who's doing. And the guy is taking this girl and just doing backflips with her. Proper backflips standing.
Oh. Oh.
And after walking in there, haven't danced in a couple of years, and you go, today's not the day I'm gonna dance.
Ah, ow, ow, ow.
It was one of those days. Oh well, there were some really good dancers there, so it isn't that. It's just that, yeah, I can't do that. I'm gonna go sulk in a corner somewhere now.
I'm gonna partake of the cheese tray for the next hour.
Yeah, so there's that. I just got reminded of it we start talking about DDR. Uh, I know there is a peripheral I'm forgetting with modern games. Oh, now I remember. The king of them all.
The king of them all?
Yeah, the controller for Steel Battalion.
Oh, we have that.
I am jealous,
Now, the
admittedly.
thing is, the user, like the VGF user SmackDown Pete, I've said before, he's my roommate.
Yeah.
He loves giant robots, like absolutely loves them. He will buy like a game that people say isn't very good or like might not have this sort of no, he has bought games that are not very good because there are giant robots in them. He'll endure it.
Dude.
He has Lost Planet 3.
Dude.
He has Lost Planet 3.
Ooh. Damn.
He has Lost Planet 3. And because it has giant robot, he wanted to try it. He didn't like it.
The concept is great. You're in this steel suit shooting rockets at people. I mean, I think it's a awesome idea. I just think that they usually have this arcade feel to it, which I'm fine with. But I really want to have something more realistic. With if you have a machine gun that when you run out of ammo, you just don't pick up more ammo from hammer space and rockets and stuff like that.
I did see him play it, and I know he's not like all that great in the game. It was just no, it was like he brought his Xbox and like the controller he had, and he
and
played
the
it. He brought a
and
friend
the
over.
lorry he needs to bring in the controller in the living room.
Right, he
Sorry.
needed like another. He needed an entire TV tray, and he needed a TV tray and a separate chair to play it. Outside of like what we have around the living room.
I mean, what is it? It's like 2 joypads. There is
Yeah.
like one
Whole
extra trigger and a bunch of buttons. A big red one that reads eject.
You better remember that one.
Yeah, so I want one of those just because it's one of those things that would look good in the living room.
I forgot where he put it. I think he stashed it away because it's very. Because I think he can't. He's like. No, he got a PlayStation 4 and he knows. And there's not like that much like outlet space for an Xbox, so I think he put everything up somewhere.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and that said, I think we can add that the controller for Steel Battalion, I think, is an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah. Pretty sure. If it isn't, it's just for PC.
Yeah, and then again, I can run with this too. That and the real latest is the virtual reality things for the computer. And from what I heard, they are starting to see if they can develop for console games too.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you tried any one of those Oculus Rift kind of things?
I haven't been to any sort of convention or anything that like has that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I suppose I can see the like appeal of it.
Yeah.
For the most part, but I don't know. I suppose it I would have to see them actually apply it to a marketing purpose.
Oh, okay.
Because it seems, or like kind of see like if what's kind of, I see it as more than like a series, like hundreds of demos playing with the Oculus Rift in mind. Because it just kind of seems like it's a camera that turns with your head.
Yeah.
Which that's fine and all, but
yeah, I see some interesting applications for it, mostly in simulator games, because all of a sudden you have extra buttons freed up from having you tilt your head in all directions to doing useful stuff. Also, and this is probably some of my more evil side, but I'd really like to see someone play one of the Five Nights at Freddy games with one of those.
I've seen images of people playing horror games with the Oculus Rift on, and it just
Yeah, so I think with the current swing the horror genre is having, I think that could be interesting for them.
right.
Then again, I see a better use in the simulator crowd as people that really likes to play simulator games really
Right.
can put down money for the hardware.
Yeah.
And
I
I
I
want
think that I could find a use in it, like if I got the chance, but I don't know if it's something I need. Like if it came with something great, if I had to, mm, no, like I said, I'm torn on it.
oh, okay, yeah. I think it's neat that the uh, the technology just evolves more and more, more and more. I think it's really interesting. On the
Yeah,
on the other hand, as I kind of fear that they're gonna start selling this, and some Japanese developers gonna get a hands on it, and then we have all of these strange Japanese games in them again.
oh, they already have their hands on it. Don't you worry
No.
about. I'm not going to tell you anything because everything I've heard would traumatize a normal man.
Let me guess. It's all we need to up the rating from E to an M if we start discuss this, right?
A.O.
Some part of me feels like it should feel disgusted. Another part of me feels that this sounds interesting. I wonder what they're doing with this. Oh yeah. I think we need to stop here because this is going south
No, no, no.
really, really fast. So
Let's quit while we're ahead. Let's
yeah,
quit while we're ahead.
exactly. Let's try to get out of the pit as fast as possible. Anyway, do you have anything? We have we have some time left here in the tail end. Do you have anything special you want to say? Anything interesting going on?
Not really, right? There, there's, I don't really have anything I really need to say or to talk about
Ah, okay, yeah.
on my end.
Eh, with me, it's the same old, same old. Just I'm practicing my musical instruments. I've been looking into. I've been looking at this nice guitar, and I've been looking at this electrical organ, and I could really use a decent keyboard because the organ I have now, it have a kind of accordion, the button accordion layout on it, and
Right.
I can't really play standing with that thing.
Right.
So it's one of those things that I feel like could be a good investment if music wise.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Like, especially if the keyboard has like 100 different sounds to it.
Oh, dude, it has it's I would say it's a lot of organ for the money. And damn it, we're back into that part of my brain again. Damn it. A lot of organ
Let you.
for the money.
Okay, I just cut off that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I blame the previous
Myself.
topic. Anyway, I think we should head out now. So I think we should say goodbye and see you all next time. And that will hopefully be in 2 weeks. And I will by then hopefully stop giggle like a madman.
Yeah, hopefully we will clean our brains out in that time.
I have a big bucket of brain bleach. Don't you worry.
Right.
Anyway,
We'll see
goodbye.
you guys later.
Yeah, take care.